Good morning, everyone. Who's around today? Happy 4th of July if you're here in the US. Welcome. My name is Stephanie, and I am the Everyday Sewist. And I hope you can join me for a little bit of sewing today, and you can let me know what you're working on. And it'll just give us a chance to make some progress on some of our projects and enjoy what we love to do. So let's see what's going on in your world. I want to make sure that you can see me all right. Maybe I tip this just a smidge. I hope you can hear me well. And I will show you what I'm working on today. Is there anything in your way? I need this light here. And let's just see. So before I started streaming, before I started this, I actually got out one of my projects that I had cut out a couple of months ago, at least a couple of months ago. And it's a really cute, it's all 60-degree triangles, and it's a free pattern by Krista Moser. And of course, it's on my design wall, which is over there, so it's going to be kind of hard for you to see it. I guess I could go get a couple of pieces of it. I didn't think of bringing that over here. Let me see if I can show you. I don't know if this shows up. So this is the little baby quilt that I want to make. Like I said, it's a free pattern from Krista Moser. And so I have cut out all of my triangles in blues and yellows. And it's for it's going to be a baby quilt for someone that my cousin knows. And she asked if I would make a baby quilt for them. So I said, sure. I haven't been quite dialed in yet to get that going. It's been a while, so maybe it'll be there by the time the baby turns 1. But it's a baby quilt, so it shouldn't take that long, right? As long as we get around to it. So one of the projects that I wanted to work on for July is to get this one going, get this one up on the wall. Let me just take a little picture of it on my design wall, and I will. Oh, good morning, Vicki. Glad you could join me. I want to hear about what you're working on. So let me just go take a picture of this really quickly, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I just started laying out the pieces of my triangle baby quilt right there. Okay, so later today, I hope that I'll get all those pieces put up. If you've never worked with 60-degree triangles before, really, they're not bad at all to work with. It's really, I enjoy them, and it's just a different shape. So when I kind of get tired of doing squares and rectangles and half square triangles, it's just another fun shape to use. And there's a lot of variety that you can do within those shapes. So I think it's going to be really fun to work on. So, good morning. If you're just joining me, I want to say hello and welcome. If you'd like to share where you're from, you can put that in the comments. I'd love to know what you're working on today and what kind of plans you have. So I hope that you have the drink of your choice. Mine is coffee. And it's because it's in the morning here. If you're joining us from another time zone, you may be on something else. So, welcome, and let's get a little bit of sewing in today. So, like I said, I'm going to work on my little triangle project later on. And that's one of my things that I'd like to get done in July. We just got back from vacation 2 days ago, so I haven't even done my laundry yet. Still trying to organize things. And so before laundry, I had to come down to my sewing room, right? And figure out what was going on here. That's way more important. I'm sure I have some clean clothes to wear somewhere, so it doesn't matter if that stuff gets done or not right away, right? At least that's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. So I am working on my little stars today. These are from Neighborhood Nights. It is, oh, shoot, I left my pattern over there. Hold on. I really have limited space right here on my table, so I don't keep a lot of, the table gets filled up really fast. So I'm working on this pattern by Missouri Star Quilt Company, and I am making my own version of these little stars, which means I don't have to cut everything that they tell me to cut, and I'll show you why in a minute. I did do a little short video about it a couple weeks ago before I left on my trip, and I didn't demo it, but I just kind of held up my box to show you what I was doing with the stars. So I'm going to be making a few stars today. So this pattern, let me see. It is a layer cake friendly pattern. I'm not using a layer cake yet either because I haven't quite decided what all my houses are going to look like. Let me show you what I've got so far. Let me just finish reading this. You need 3 yards of background fabric and your layer cake squares. However, if you do it the way I do, you won't use very much of your layer cake, but it sure helps with coordinating all your fabrics. So who knows? Maybe I will. I'm still playing around with what I'm going to do, how I'm going to go about coloring this. What I like about this one, the couple of quilts that I've seen done from this pattern, is I like the brightness of the houses and the stars. So I want to keep that. And when I did a couple of test blocks, I think my houses came out a little darker than I wanted. I also played around with what background fabric I want because I had a couple different black fabrics to choose from. So let me just show you what I had. So I started with this Tula Pink fabric from a line a couple years ago. It's a black and it has stars and birds on it. And then I made another star with this brighter star print. And I think I've settled on this star print, which is a little bit more subtle, and the stars are just a little smaller. So let me hold those 3 up. Can you kind of see which, how's that? So those are the 3 stars that I've made, a couple of each of those. And like I said, you get to where you have to make a decision, right? So so this is it. And I have uh plenty of this. I definitely have 3 yards of it, and I got it pressed, and I cut some of my squares for the stars. Then for the houses, let's see. Couple, so yeah, I actually made like a half a dozen of these ones, thinking that for sure I was going to go with the Tula Pink. But these might make a cute row of blocks on the back of the quilt. So let's undo this here. So this is a house and star, and some of the houses and the stars, sometimes you put the star at the bottom and sometimes you put it at the top according to the directions. So I just started attaching. This is not a Tula Pink fabric. I think it works. I think they get offset kind of like this. Something like that. So I think that could work. And there's another house, like with that one. And so all these house pieces you cut from your layer cake. And there's one more. And so the way they have you do it is that you end up with swapping the pieces like this for your house and your roof, right? Can you see that? And so this was the other pair that I did. And then they get set like this. So I really, really like the houses. I've always loved house blocks. And so I just have to make a decision. And so I really didn't mean to start another project, but like I said, I liked that pattern so much when I had seen it on someone else had posted it on social media somewhere, and I liked it so much, so I went ahead and ordered the pattern, and I just wanted to make a couple sample blocks, and then I couldn't stop making star blocks. So so good morning. Oh, good. Uh I do like using, and I don't always use a dark background, but I do think that's part of what I really liked about this particular pattern, is using the dark background. And so I guess because I usually use lights, this one was really appealing to me as just something different. And so I've been doing a little bit more, I'd say in the last couple of years. I have made a couple of quilts with dark backgrounds that I really, really like. And one of the other ones that I think I'd like to do with a very dark background is a quilt with the words, the pieced letters in it. And I know there's several designers that, like Denise Schmidt has a fabulous quilt with words in it, with an alphabet. And I've never tried anything like that, like on a large scale, to have the letters. So maybe this is all preparing me to jump into a quilt with a quote on it and a dark background. So we'll see if that happens in the future. But I do like using the dark backgrounds. And I did have a whole bunch of this little star print. And I don't know that I have the cardboard for that anymore. It was on a bolt. Let me see. In case you like it and you think you might have a use for it, it's a couple years old. It's from Blank Quilting. the company Blank Quilting, and the pattern number is 6383. It doesn't really have a name like most fabrics these days seem to have names. So here's the selvage. So if you like that little star print, and it came in red. It came in a really nice red as well, which I have some. Let me see. Okay. So it does have a name. It just is not on the selvage. So this is the red, and it's called Starlet. Blank Quilting Starlet, pattern number 6383. And I know it comes in green as well, and I don't know what other colors. So, but I've used it a lot, and now I'm down to probably the last 3 yards of it. So, anyway, so I wanted to show you more about not just my progress on that, but I was going to stitch and flip these corners, get some of this other stuff out of the way. I was going to stitch and flip these corners on some of this on at least one star block today and show you how I did that. If I can get this to where you can actually see me sewing. And so that's one thing that I'm going to work on today. Then what else? I also want to show you the new Leader Ender challenge. If you've been hanging around me for a while, you know that I really like Bonnie Hunter's designs and her mysteries and her challenges that she puts out. And I've made several of her mystery quilts. I think I showed you the finished mystery in episode 21 or 22, I think it was the most recent one. And then in between that, so the mystery quilt comes out between Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, in that time frame. And her Leader Ender challenge comes out in July. And she just released it yesterday or the day before. So it's brand new. And the Leader Ender challenge is something to kind of help guide you through your using up your scraps and kind of give you a plan for using up your scraps for July to July. So you take however much time you want to make however big a quilt or quilts you want. And she gives you this free pattern and some design ideas for it, color ideas, and off you go. So I have, I didn't print anything out yet. She does have it as a PDF, a free PDF. And so if you go to quiltville.blogspot.com, and I can put that link in the description box. If you're coming in later, I can put that in the box for you so that you can head on over to her blog and check it out. But I have a couple of, and this one uses 2.5-inch strips. At least that's the size I'm doing. I'm doing the same size that she is. You can make the block in whatever size strips works for you and your stash. So I've got this ready to go, and I'll show you. I'm going to make my first little block today while we're chatting here. And I'll show you how I cut that out. And since I haven't made it before, I'm still pretty sure that it's going to work just fine. And I'll show you that. So we've got that to do. Also, One of the other people that I follow is Angela at soscrappy.blogspot.com. And this being July and a new month, we're on to a new color of the month for using our scraps. And this month is aqua. So I will be, let's see, I figured out I have like 5 scrap projects going on right now. And so as I look at my aqua scraps, I will cut stuff for my box kite blocks, my offset columns. I want to make a double star block. I only make like one of the double star blocks a month. What else? I can use some of the scraps in this neighborhood nights. And my hollow nines. So I will look again at my aqua scraps, which are getting pretty low, which is a good thing. I've got lots of fat quarters and other bits, so I'm never going to run out of fabric. But I will try making some aqua blocks this month in those patterns and adding those to the stash. I have 11 projects on my list for July. I should do some sewing while I'm chatting here. Otherwise, I'm not getting anything done. Okay, so let me back. I'll show you how I do this star point. So this is the unit that I'm talking about. This is a star point. And you start with, in this case, I'm starting with a 2.5-inch square of my background. And I want to cover a corner of it. Okay, I'm going to be, if I can do this in reverse, I want to cover this corner right here. So I put this piece on just at an angle. You can tell it's going to be plenty big enough once I flip it back. Matter of fact, let's make it even bigger, a bigger point. They don't have to overlap, these points. So I am going to sew right along here. I'm going to sew right along there and do my first star point. Let's see. I'm going to get this set and let's see if I can angle you down enough. How's that? Can you see? Not quite. Not quite. I'm not sure I can bring you in close enough to see. Oh, good for you, Vicki. I just saw your note that you finished your Say Can You See quilt. Wonderful. Just in time, right? Who is the I've heard of that quilt, but I don't remember who the designer is. Was that a Primitive Gatherings pattern? Okay, so I'm just going to sew using a 1/4 inch seam. And let me grab another one. Let's see, and let's sew another one. Okay, so I just sewed that on. And then I will fold this back and press it. I've got my iron all heated up right here. Okay, so that's one star point. And now let me get the other one and put that on. Let's see, what color do I want next? How about this green? Okay, so this green, I mean, look what kind of a scrap this is. This is just off of a, corner off of something here. And let's have it go kind of like that. And you can have these as wonky as you want. Cut this one off. So Vicki, if you finish that one quilt, are you, do you already have something else started? Something else in progress? Or are you kind of waiting to see what you're going to start next? What's your plan? How are you going to go from here? Okay, so there's another start point. And I could either have this be this way or this way. At this point, it doesn't matter which way I turn it. I could look at it and then figure that out later. But I think I'll do it like that. And what color? Which one do I like? I think I like that. And sew this one on. Press this back. Okay, so before I trim it, it looks like that. There's the back of it like that. And so I am going to I brought my little mat, my little rotating mat over here. And you know me, and I've messed up many times on my trimming and cutting. But we're going to do it right now anyway. So the size of this square is 2.5 inches. If it wasn't cut perfectly, that's okay, because now we're going to be able to cut it perfectly to 2.5 inches. Pardon me. I'm on a little bit of a ridge here, so I'm maybe not getting such a clean cut. I don't think it's a problem with my blade. I think it's a problem with being in the... Okay, so this is going to be trash. I really don't think I can use that one anymore. I've gotten a couple pieces out of it, but this one is big enough to use again on another piece. So now that I have this, okay, I prefer to cut away the excess on the back. So I will cut away this square, the back of the square, just a little bit, just trim it a little bit. I'm not even going to use the ruler. I'm just going to get rid of that bulk. And there's my finished start point. So normally when I'm working on those, I am, I'll be making them in a batch. And so if I'm batch sewing, I might do a dozen star points at a time, and it actually goes really quickly. So the more you can do at a time, the faster it goes, at least for me. So and while I am getting this one out from under the needle, I can start sewing this block together. I've got it set out right here. I don't suppose you can see that. Right. Let's see. Okay, so here's the block that I'm working on. And press this. So, I mean, look at this wonky piece. This has had something else already attached to it. I don't remember what that was for. Doesn't matter. It ended up in my scrap basket, and so I think these little star points are a great way to use up some of this weird stuff that I've saved. So do you have weird stuff like that in your scraps? Is that do you save that stuff? And I think that's why, because I have that stuff, I think that's why I'm actually kind of interested in doing some improv, because if I'm doing improv, that means that I can use some of those weird pieces. And maybe that's even what this one was from. Who knows? Who knows? But this is definitely big enough to put back into the pile. That's definitely, I might get even 2 out of that. So we'll throw that back into the bin there and use it again. All right, another star point, and that one's ready to be sewn into the block. So I like batch sewing, but I don't do that necessarily all the time. Let's see. Okay. Summer, let's see. So Vicki, you've got a summer picnic quilt. And and you save a lot of things too. All right. Hands up who saves lots of weird pieces. Anybody else? I know a lot of people just get rid of it too, and that's okay. That's okay. Your life is probably a lot less complicated when you don't save that stuff, right? Do we make things harder for ourselves by saving all that stuff? That's what I mean. I'm like, but so one of the things, I think I've talked about this a little bit before. I have in one of these rolling carts, I keep a bin of, let's say, several of them. I have, let's see, I have 4 of these little carts, and in one of them, I keep all my bits. So this one is labeled triangle shapes for corners. Okay, so when I cut off bindings, the sew-in flips, I finished cutting and I have any kind of a triangle bit left, it goes into this bin. This bin is, what would you say? Maybe 7 by 8. It's one of those Target bins. Here we go. It's almost 8 by 10. All right, 8 by 10. And it is filled, and it has a great amount of all the colors. So I can use my scraps too, but this I can easily get probably 100 stars out of what's in here. But I have several projects that I'd love to do that use triangle bits. And I have some tiny houses. Have I ever shown you my tiny houses that I haven't worked on in a long time? I wonder if I could find those. My tiny houses. Where might those be? Let me think a minute. I'm going to sew this one on, and then I'll see if I can remember where my tiny houses might be. Anyway, let me just take a quick look over here behind the computer and see if I can find those. No, but I found something else I can show you. Tiny houses, where are you? They're over there somewhere. I think I actually had pulled them out not too long ago. And I think they're in one of my rolling carts because I knew I wanted to get back to them. So this is, pardon me, a foundation paper pieced Wild and Goosey. And this uses all your tiny triangles. And look how appropriate that one is. I've got red, white, and blue on this. And this finishes at 3 inches. So I haven't made any of these in a while. But again, it's another one of those projects that I save that I can do with all of these. But the tiny houses, of course, the house has a roof, right? And just like the big ones that I'm working on in Neighborhood Nights, you've got the roof and then you've got the sky pieces. So both the roof and the sky can use up those triangles if I have the colors that I want for it. So there's just so many uses for them. And I found that for my organization, or lack thereof, my attempt at organization, I decided that I really liked keeping the triangle bits separate from other things, and it's all the colors. So if I am making a house or whatever, I can pull out whatever color I want, and the size is, or the shape is there, and that's the shape that I'm looking for. So that's how I have organized it. So let's see, that one is almost ready. Let me get another So I cut up a bunch of squares last night, and each of these star blocks, you need 9 squares. And so I will lay my 9 squares out in a grid, and then I only need to make 4 star points, right? For each of my stars. So I can start laying these down again. I will kind of lay it out so that I can see how big a, see how much, where I want this to be, and then flip it over. And so. And let's do all 4 of them so that I can just keep chaining these around. And I guess the thing that I really like about this is that this could have been just garbage. And now I am making something really fun with all of those pieces. Let's see, another one. We'll pull that green back out again and try using that up. And one more. And what color? How about this red? Boy, this looks like an ancient print. Do I have that right? I don't think I have that right. There we go. That's better. It's easy to get turned around for me. Get a little directionally challenged sometimes. So I have to lay it where it needs to go, and then flip it over so that it's in the right position. So I will keep going with that. Let's see, am I missed anything? All right. So yesterday I made some corn and black bean salad. There was some fresh corn at the grocery store, and I thought that salad sounded really good. Made some potato salad. We're going to have your basic menu today of hamburgers and hot dogs and couple of salads. And then I think I'll ask my husband to make some dump cake with some fresh fruit. Are you all a fan of dump cake? Have you heard of that before? It's one of those super easy desserts where you dump the cake mix on top of your filling and then put some butter, pats of butter on top and bake it, and it just gets all gooey and delicious. I love that stuff. And then, of course, you have some vanilla ice cream to go on top. Yum, yum, yum. So I think that's our menu for today. Anyone else have favorite items on the menu today? Are you picnicking? Are you grilling? What you doing for any special things on the menu today? Oh, and I like pickles, so I got a jar of fresh pickles. Right? Trying not to do the chips and things like that. trying really hard to stay away from those things and fill my plate with vegetables and salads and things like that. So that'll be really nice. And it's supposed to be super hot here today. Think it's supposed to get up to 90. So I will probably spend most of the day down here in my nice, cool basement and just go upstairs and for meal times. That's my approach to really hot days. Although I did go out and we did go running yesterday and the day before, even though it was really, really hot. We just went slowly and didn't try to overdo it. And it was fine. So, and where we run at the park, it is in covered, it's all the paths that we go on are like 90% tree covered. So it is shadier and slightly cooler in there. Have to remember to drink my water. Hi, Anna. I'm sorry to hear about your husband. I'm glad you have your sewing to do in between times of taking care of him. So right now I have a lot of like freedom and flexibility, but week after next, my mom is coming back to stay with us. She is 96 and she will be with us for a couple of months, and she's not sick, but I will be spending a lot of my time taking care of her. All of her meals. She can take care of getting herself dressed and those kind of things, but I'll be spending a lot of my time just sitting and being with her and taking her out for walks as much as she is able to, doing things like that. So yeah, I'm going to get as much done now as I can. And because I know that coming up, I'm not going to be able to spend a day down here sewing. It's just not going to happen. So I'll take it while I can get it. So I hope, Anna, that it's something where he's going to be getting better. I hope he improves and that you'll have kind of a positive outcome from that. Let's see. So this on, and we'll have a star block done. Well, and I'm happy to be here sewing because I know that lots of us don't get a chance to get out and do some of the other things that we might want to do while we're taking care of others. And so that's, if you can get out and go do things today and go watch parades, that's great. And you can always catch this live stream after it happens. But lots of us are dealing with all kinds of things, aren't we? And so this little bit of sewing time that we get in, maybe you can join in for a little while or whatever you can do is, maybe all you can get in today. And so I'm happy that you can come and sit for a little while and do this. We take what we can get, right? Let's see. Okay, good. So he is recovering. I'm glad to hear that. Very glad to hear that. Yeah, when my mother is not here, she is with my brother, and he lives in Connecticut. I live in Indiana, and so we meet in the middle in Pennsylvania on the given day, have lunch together, and believe it or not, my mom can make that trip, which I think is really amazing. And then she comes here and stays for a couple months, and then she goes back to my brother's. All right, there is the first one for today. I think it is so cute. If you didn't like the scrappy look, Carol, if you don't like the scrappy look, you could do all one color for a star. There's nothing that says you have to make these all different. So if you wanted to have red star points all the way around, you could do that. Pick a color. You could do red on white and have all, instead of using black background, you could use a white background and do red star points. So, but I wanted to show you, actually stitch it and show you how I did it, because in the short video I did, I didn't actually sew it. I just kind of showed you the steps. So if that helps, that's great. And if you want to give it a try, like I said, I'm using 2.5-inch squares for mine. So my block finishes up at 6.5 unfinished and 6-inch finished. And I think if they were just a quilt or a table runner or something of just all of these stars, I think that would be really, really cute. So there's another one. And I have a couple more star points to do. Then I will show you some show and tell. I've got some show and tell for you. And the leader ender challenge. And a couple other things. So let's see. Have to alternate between water and coffee. All right, water, coffee, water, coffee. So we just got back from Colorado. My son lives there, and we had a wonderful time, but it is so dry there. So dry especially compared to Indiana. So it's not only the elevation, he's at over 5,000 feet, but we took several day trips up to 12,000 and 14,000 feet. So it was fantastic. I just love the mountains. But I'm pretty good about drinking my water, but it was hard to drink enough water to stay hydrated. It was constantly having that bottle of water and emptying that several times a day. And then we would still feel like a little crampy in our legs at night, and then realize that we still hadn't had enough water. So yeah, it was a challenge to get enough water. Let's see, a couple more. So we Oh, that's kind of a cool one. What else do I have down in here? Oh, I haven't done yellow much. Let's put in a yellow. So we took a drive towards and saw the Continental Divide. We took another drive and went up what's called Mount Blue Sky, which is a scenic highway. Absolutely gorgeous. That gets you right up to the sky, right into the clouds. It was so cool. We went to see a couple of very small towns because we're thinking we'd really like to move to Colorado. And so we just really want to get a feel for what it's like in different areas, not just Denver, not just the bigger cities, Colorado Springs or Fort Collins. We wanted to kind of get out there and see what some of the other towns were like. So on each of our visits, we usually do that. We usually go see a couple towns that we hadn't been to before. We went all the way out west, like a year or so ago, went to Grand Junction and saw some of that area. This time we also went to Steamboat Springs. We had never been there before. Steamboat Springs is beautiful, but it's like by itself. There's like no other towns nearby for like hours, which is just crazy, but it's beautiful. It's seemed a bit expensive because you can imagine how hard it is to get all the supplies and get everything there. So I think it tends to be a little more expensive, groceries and all, but just beautiful. And we loved the drive. We loved all the drives. So we put on about 3,000 miles this trip, a little over maybe 3,000 miles, driving there and back and all around. But it was worth it. It was a really, really nice little tour around. If you've been there and you have some favorite places or towns to go to, I would love to hear about it. We will probably go back again, maybe later this year if we can. Like I said, we plan our vacations for when my mom is not here. So that means we could go again, go do something hopefully in like September, October, somewhere in that. And so the fall would be a lovely time to do some traveling again. Another little star point. Let's just trim off some of the back there for the bulk. So while I was gone, I did bring a couple of projects to work on. I brought 3 actually, all handwork. And I guess I just really don't tend to do a lot of even being in the car that much. I don't. Oh, this is upside down. No wonder it wasn't sticking. I don't tend to get much done, even though I pack a lot. I did not pack a machine. I did not want to do that. But I brought the binding to do on a big quilt. And do you know, it took me the whole entire trip. I just finished the binding on the leg home. Just before we got into the driveway, I finished the binding on the quilt. So, and I'm going to show that to you in just a minute. So the other hand projects that I brought did not get worked on. And that's okay. Like I said, I generally, I guess I overpack. I overpacked on clothing for sure. See, the problem is, like, we don't always know how much hiking we want to do when we go. And this time, and when you're going to do hiking, you know, I bring my cold weather gear and my hot weather gear. You know, you bring boots and shoes and coats and hats and gloves because you just don't know. It did hail on us when we were up at the Continental Divide. Yes, in June, we actually had, it wasn't big, it was very, very small, very, very cold rain, right? So we did get hailed on when we were there, and that's why you bring all the layers. So if you wanted to stick around there for any length of time, which we did not this time, which is a little sad, but if we wanted to stick around there at all, you would, you know, you'd need to get out your coat and your warm coat and have all that gear. So that takes up a lot of space. And then since we were going to meet with a real estate agent, I thought, oh, I better bring something that's somewhat decent to wear. And it was our anniversary. So we thought, okay, well, I'll use that decent stuff so we can maybe go out for a nice meal. And so you're bringing everything from your shorts to a couple pairs of decent clothes and your cold weather and your hot weather. And it was like, so much stuff to pack. And then, of course, that means I didn't even use half of it. So, yeah, overpacked a bit for that one. But I guess that means I didn't have as much laundry to do when I got back. I just had a lot of sorting to do of things. Lots of sorting. Putting away. Well, this is a nice little stack. Look at all these pretty little things. Could use some of these. But I really need to dig down so that I can get to all the colors. Because who knows what's in the bottom of this. So when you're leader entering, it's almost like you never have a stopping point. Because you've always got something under the needle and you're like always just going, oh, just one more piece, just one more piece. So I know I told you I had some show and tell, and here I am digging into my basket and going, oh, just one more. Let me just finish this one star point. So that's trash. And let's get another one here. Let's see, it goes on like this and then flip it. Almost there. All right, get this trimmed up, and then I have another block ready to go. I'll get that laid out, and then I will show you the binding, show you what quilt I finished. Do you have a guess? All right, trash. Let's see. Thank you, Mary on her way. 200 jewels. Thank you. I'll have to look into that. Okay. If you are just joining me, I appreciate you being here and spending a little time with me while I'm working on my little star blocks. My name is Stephanie, and I am the Everyday Sewist. And most of the time, I can live up to that name. I do sew every day, always seem to have something I want to work on. Let's change these around a little bit. Do I want it like this? Maybe like this. That's better. Okay. So here is my next block ready to assemble with those cute little star points. So let me show you some show and tell. So I had been, this quilt was, let's see, it was started on April 18th this year when I was at my guild retreat. We had a wonderful weekend of sewing, and that was one of the new starts that I brought with me. I had a kit for this quilt. Well, it's basically, it was a half-yard bundle, okay, of Kaffe times Morris, the line that came out, I think it was maybe a little over a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. But I bought the half-yard pack during the shop hop last year, the Indiana shop hop. And it was a pattern that I have had on my bucket list to make for several years. And when I saw it in these fabrics, I decided that this was it. This was the fabric bundle that I wanted to use for that quilt. And so I started working on it on April 18th, and I finished it on June 30th. And you know, that's not the only thing I work on when I work. So like I said, I have 11 projects for this month, and I'll go through some of those later. But this was my main project over the last couple of months. And once I had the top done, it sat for a little bit waiting to get quilted. Then it sat for a little bit waiting to have the binding put on, and I managed to get the binding put on at like midnight before we were leaving the next day for our trip, because I thought I wanted to work on it in the car and get it done while I had that idle time in the car. So, right, that's probably why my clothing packing didn't go so well, because I was more concerned about getting the binding on the quilt than I was packing my clothes. So anyway, so here is Succulent Garden. I showed it in previous whatevers. I probably had it in the live stream last time as just a top, and now it is quilted and bound. And there are a couple of things in the quilting that I want to show to you as well. So let me get this. I have it sitting right here. I also had a lot of fun taking this with me up to all of the mountain peaks and getting pictures of it at the mountain peaks. So if I step back a little more, it is queen size, but I also found out that it fits pretty well on a king size bed. So let me find a couple of the fun things that I did on it. Well, the quilting pattern is called Chevron Tumbler. And you might be able to see it a little better here. If I get it at the right angle, it's all straight lines done on my long arm. And let's see. I don't know if I can get that at an angle enough that you can see. But I really like the straight lines with this one. The backing is a Kaffe Fassett Morris print. I forget the name of it. Maybe Delphinium? I'm not sure. But when I got down to the last row of quilting, and had it ready to take off the machine, I added some secret messages and my signature, and here they are. It's on this side. And then I also, when I was doing the binding, I added some labels. So let's see which I find first. I've been having a lot of fun adding labels to my quilts. And these are just like little decorative ones. These are not labels for saying who made it. I say who made it in the quilting. Like I said, before I take the quilt off of the machine, I found that there were these little, let me move this a little bit. These little areas where I could sign my name. So that's how I sign my name, right in the front, right in the corner, with name and place, or not place, year. And then I went ahead and I wrote different things just in script, right in these open spots of quilting. So this one says be happy. And this one says caring and loved. This one says strong. And this one, let's see, unique, imagine, brave, special. So I just used all different kinds of words to help just as kind of inspiration. And so I really enjoy doing that. I thought that was fun because if I end up giving this quilt away, it's good for the person who receives it as well. And now I can't find the labels on here, so we'll just have to save that for another day. So there you have it. This is my 10th finish of 2026. And the pattern is called Succulent Garden. And the designer and the shop where I bought the kit from is Crimson Tate. So the owner of Crimson Tate is Heather Givens. I need to send her a picture of my finished quilt. The store is in downtown Indianapolis. They ship everywhere. There is a huge template for cutting out those hexagons and the pattern. And so if you wanted to know more about it, then you could head on over to their website, crimsontate.com, and I can put that down in the description box. So I love that fabric line so much, and I ended up going back online and getting some more of a few of the prints. And since this is a really big one, I wanted to make another version of it, only in a smaller, like lap size for the couch. So hopefully I will get to doing that before the 2 years goes by again, right? So, so if you haven't already shared what you are working on, I would love to know what kind of projects you have going on. If you are sitting working on binding or cutting out another project, are you doing some cross stitch or some knitting? How many of you out there are multi-crafters and always have several things going on in all different types of crafts? I pretty much am just a quilter. I will do some handwork, but it's usually hand sewing or hand piecing or hand quilting. But I haven't done any cross stitch in a long, 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 long time. And uh, it's been a couple of years since I've done any knitting. Uh, it took me about 3 years to knit a pair of socks. And then that kind of told me that I was done with knitting. I just uh, could not uh, could not get around to it because I wanted to spend my time quilting. So that's if yeah, it's pretty much just quilting for me at these days. Um, but I did enjoy, and I still consider this quilting. I did that Kawandi project, and I'm going to be doing a little bit of sashiko. And for me, that still kind of falls under the same category. So, anyway, write me a note in the comments. Tell me what you're working on. I'd love to know about it. And I am going to take just a 2-minute, 1-minute break, and I will be right back. Sorry about that. I just had to take care of something really quickly. That happens sometimes, right? If you've been sitting down the whole time as I have, it's good for you to get up and stand up and walk around and stretch your legs so we don't, right? We tend to sit and sit and sit. I love retreats, but I have to make sure that whenever I am lucky enough to have a day where I'm going to do a lot of sewing, I have to make sure that I get up and stand up and walk around a little bit. So let's see. Oh, so that laundry basket, the quilt mystery block of the month. So can you still get the directions for the mystery block of the month? Was that something that she posted online, or did that become a pattern? Because I love hers, and there just are not enough hours in the day. I've only done one of her mystery projects, and that was several years ago. I really, really need to do another one. So if you know when the next one is coming up, could you write that in the comments? And I love your name, Curious ES. So yeah, I would love to schedule put that into my schedule to do another one of her block of the months because I think they're just beautiful. So I did. So while I was gone, you might be wondering if I went shopping at all. And the answer is yes. I went to one quilt shop. Again, like I said, when I'm traveling, quilting definitely takes a back seat. Ah, okay. It started going, so okay. Okay. All right, so she's on month 6, so it's not and it'll be going through December? Is that what okay. All right. All right. I will check it out. Um, I kind of lost track of hers because I know that I thought she had some that are just like where she releases something every week, and those are really fast paced sew-alongs. Um, oh, okay. All right. I will go back and check that out. What colors are you using? Are you doing her color choices or did you change up the colors? Uh, are you using like her fabrics or your own fabrics? What did you decide to do for that? I really like her fabrics, but I usually just try to replicate her color palette, but not necessarily her using her fabrics. I have some, but I don't really I don't collect her fabrics like I collect some other people's fabrics, designers. Um, so, all right. So, what did I buy? So, I went to, like I said, I only went to one quilt shop on the way back home. And I bought a couple little gifty items, which I'm not going to show you because the person who's getting them might actually be watching. And it was this cute little shop in Oakley, Kansas. Can you see that? LA Quilt. And I think the owner's name is Leanne. So I think that's why that's the name of it. And so I picked up just small pieces of some of my favorite Ruby Star fabrics. These are the starry, and I bought a little bit more of this one, like a yard and a half of this one, so that I could use it as a background for something. And then I just saw this kind of pretty little background. And I've been using so many neutrals in my projects lately, except for this one with the black. I've been using up so many neutrals that I just decided to treat myself to some more neutrals that I really, really like. And I do have a drawer, just about a whole drawer of cotton and steel. And so these will be lovely to mix in with those. And that's it. That's all I got on my trip. I didn't stop at any other stores. However, I did sign up before I left. I signed up for a new block of the month. And I have not done a paid block of the month. For 15 years, probably, or more. I have always done like the laundry basket, the Bonnie Hunter. I usually do the programs that are free. And this time I decided to do the Pink Door Fabrics block of the month called Amish with a Twist 2. And so while I was gone, the first 2 packets arrived, and if I could, I think I won't start it until August because I think, oh, we'll see. I think there's 2 other projects that I'd really like to finish up, uh, so that I kinda have some mental space to think about starting something else new. And so, those are sitting on my table right over there. Do you see that? Let's see, which way is it? This way. That brown table in the back that has my block of the months. I can show you the pattern. So the reason I wanted to do this one is because it was done in all of Tula Pink fabrics. So this is the booklet that we're using. And these are the fabric requirements. It makes a quilt that's 105 by 105. However, this has been totally recolored in Tula Pink. And so it will look exactly like this, but a lot brighter, lighter colors. If you know Tula's fabrics, they are, let's see. Here. Let's see. I haven't even looked at this yet. I think I can fan this out pretty well. So these are going to use all of mostly her blenders. So if you think of that quilt design in all of these colors, and those are my favorite colors. I think this is going to be just gorgeous. So I think I can do it. There's been so much chatter online about some of the challenges with this. And I consider myself a pretty experienced quilter. But I think one of the issues is going to be that the cutting sizes are not standard cutting sizes. And because they've changed the colors, you've got this cutting assistant that you need to use, and then you're only using the pattern for the directions on how to assemble the cut pieces and what it's supposed to look like. So I think it's going to be more challenging in terms of organization so that the colors end up where they're supposed to be. And I know that the store that did this has put, oh my gosh, I can't imagine. I really can't imagine the work that they had to do to get this all sorted out and organized. And there's like 3,000 people doing it, or something, like a crazy number of people doing it. So anyway, I think I'd like to finish. I'll show it to you in just a sec. I have to put the borders on this other project, and I'd really love to see that one get done before I start this other one. And all these little stars, the little stars that I'm working on, those are good leader enders, and there's no timeline on any of those other little projects. So let's see. I have, I think I said, all right, just checking my list. So I have my stars to make. I have my hollow star blocks, my hollow 9 patch blocks. I have my double star blocks, and some other little projects that are sort of ongoing with the color of the month. So I only work on them a little bit at a time. And then I would like to, all right. So, when I visited my son, he asked me if I would be able to fix his backpack that he really, really likes. So, I told him I would give it a try. So, you see how this has come apart right here inside this pocket? So I need to figure out a way to repair this pocket here and this piece here. So I'm hoping to be able to figure that out and send that back to him. So that's one of my projects for this month. See, not a quilt, not a whole quilt, just a repair thing to do. He also, I also helped him with washing some of the quilts that I've given to him. And one of them, I have to show this to you because I was so surprised. I used a backing fabric that I thought was really cool and fun, and it looks hand dyed, but it's a commercially dyed fabric. It is shattering. I only made that quilt for him maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and the fabric is falling apart, and you're going to be amazed. Let me get that. So here's the front. All right. It was just a jelly roll race, right? And I did custom quilting on it for him because I just thought it would be fun. But let me bring this up closely. Here is the backing. All right. It looks hand dyed, right? But it was just right there. Hold on. When I held it up, I saw those 2 spots. Here we go. Is this it? It's on this side. Here we go. Look at that. That fabric has shattered. It has just disintegrated. And so I'm going to try to figure out a way to fix that. He did not abuse this. I really don't think he abused it. He just used it. But there are several spots like that on the backing of this quilt. So I am going to see what kind of patches I can do to fix that. Have you seen that before on something that is that new? I was really surprised, and it actually made me wonder, and I'm thinking about like writing an email to all of my nephews and nieces and some of the family members that I've given quilts to ask them if they have any quilts that they need help with repairs, washing it, taking care of it in any way, because I'm really glad that he showed that to me. And I'm wondering if when you give a quilt, would somebody be embarrassed to let you know that something happened to it? I think they would be. I really do. So I want to open the door to having people come back to me and say, oh, yes, I have had a problem. Can you fix this? Because I would like, it means that hopefully that they've used it and enjoyed it. And maybe I can do a repair that will let them enjoy it and use it for a lot longer. So if you have any ideas or thoughts on that, I'm really open to hearing about like how you fixed a quilt or how you got a quilt back from someone or offered to help them. But that's what I'm thinking right now. is I yeah, I need to open the door and let people know that I will help them uh, be able to use their quilts, because if they're piled up in a corner somewhere in their storeroom or basement or in the corner of the room and it can't be used, or maybe they've ended up, I don't know, letting the dog use it, or whatever purpose it has suited, but maybe it just needs a little repair. Maybe it just needs a little love, and I can get them washed and repaired and turned back to them. So um, anyway, I might have more repairs to do coming up. Let's see. Okay. So you are using, curious, you're using your scraps. Oh, red, white, and blue. Oh, all right. I have given away most of my red, white, and blue quilts. That's why I don't really have anything to show you today on this 250th birthday of the US. I got nothing. I have a couple of table runners. Um, but I have, like I said, I have given away, I might have one, and I'd have to look in the cabinet. I should look for it, right? And get it out. I didn't, I had kind of forgotten about that one. So I don't really have red, white, and blue. So maybe that would be cool to do. And one thing is, I actually don't have a lot of red and blue, like traditional red and blue fabrics. I go more into the pinks, the raspberries, the maroons versus red, and same with blues. I have a lot of, let's see, I can see a lot of aqua and light blue and like blue green, and yep, yep, that's what's in my stash. Not, I mean, hardly any navy, hardly anything. So for me to do a whole quilt like that would probably be a challenge. I probably would need to buy a kit. Um, Hi, Jane. Yeah, I wonder too. I really wonder if there was a chemical in that fabric. I don't wash my fabrics before I put them into a quilt. Um, I may or may not have washed that before I gave it to him. So I can't even answer that, because sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. Um, but I think it's repairable. Uh, I know. It was really stunning to me, and I really think that he thought he had done something wrong, which kind of made me really sad to think that he's hanging on to it and afraid to show it to me because he's thinking he didn't take care of it. Um, but I told him that it was not his fault at all. And so maybe there's other fabrics and other quilts that I've made that have done that to me, to someone, and I've not even, I'm not aware of it. So, okay. Hi, Kim. So you have ripped the binding off of quilts with damaged backs and requilt. Oh, oh, interesting. And you put a new, so did you put the backing on top of the old backing? Is that what you're saying? So you left the backing there but added a second backing? Is that the way I'm reading that? Um, I do have another one that I need to uh, repair, that was uh, really ripped up by my other son's dog, and that's okay. That I know that happens. Uh, and again, I was at my son's house and I see this pile of quilts, and I asked him if he needed any help with any of them, and he gave me this one that I had made some years ago, and I have some doggy patches to put on it. So that again is, I'm getting into the repair business now. When you make that many quilts and you've sent them out to lots and lots of people, I think now it's time for me to go back through and see if some of these maybe need a little repair. So, um, oh, okay. Back the new, right over the old. Okay. I never thought of doing it that way. Okay. Okay. And yeah, wash it all up, right? Wash it before or after? Ah, okay. Yeah, pre-wash the new backing first. Well, for this particular one that shattered, I wonder if that would be the way to go, to put a whole new backing on it, because if I just repair the parts that were shattered, other parts could then do the same, right? And I would just end up having to fix those bits again and get it back from him again in another year and do more. So maybe I should think about doing it that way. And then this one, I don't know that I'd be able to I just quilt it in a grid, I guess. Um, and yes, do something on my long arm. Although, like I said, I had custom quilted it just because it was fun to do, and it was a jelly roll race quilt, and it just kind of gave some more interest to the jelly roll. So, um, all right, I'm gonna have to think about that, and maybe I'll bring it to my group on Wednesday and ask for more opinions from my sewing group to see if they think I should put a new back on it, or just fix the holes. So, yeah, yeah, you wouldn't either, would you? You wouldn't trust the whole, yeah. That's what at first I was thinking. Oh, I just need to put a couple patches on, but no, I'm so glad that you mentioned that. It had never crossed my mind that maybe I would just need to put a whole new backing on it, but that would protect the whole thing, wouldn't it? And I've got the fabric. So it's not it wouldn't be a problem that way at all. And that actually might be less time consuming and come out with a better finish. So I just have to take the binding off or cut it off, because it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter if it was an inch smaller. There's no borders on this that I have to worry about. So I could just trim it up and get rid of that binding and put a new backing on it and bind it again. All right. That might be the plan. That might be the plan. Okay, so I had one other thing that I wanted to get to today, and that is for the new Leader Ender Challenge. I don't want to forget to do that. So for the Leader Ender Challenge, you are cutting, you only need like about a this is what, 6.5, 7 inch strip of a light and a dark, a light print, dark print. And so I am choosing, I just dug into my 2.5 inch strip drawer and I pulled these two fabrics out just to make a sample block. And I put them right sides together. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a 2.5 inch square off the end. And this is pretty even. I mean, it's pretty squared up, but I'll just leave a little bit of room here so I can turn this and square it up. You can't see what I'm doing, can you? Sorry about that. All right. So I'm cutting a 2.5-inch square and just trimming up that end. And then I will switch rulers to my easy angle ruler. Now, I did a video about using the easy angle ruler, but look, I get to show you again. If you can't see this terribly well, go ahead and go back to, it was a really recent video. It was just in the last month. So because this is a 2.5-inch strip, I have a 2.5-inch mark here. And I was going to pick it up and show you, but I can't. So I'm aligning the bottom of the ruler with the bottom of the strip. And cut that. And flip the ruler over. Line the 2.5-inch line at the top of the strip now. Line the edge of the ruler up with the cut that I just made. And that's all I need for one block. Okay, so I will set this stuff aside. Now you see this little piece that can go into my, that might be enough for a star point. We'll see. Okay, so now without taking these apart, I'm going to sew them together right away. So you just need those 2 units for this block. So I will sew the 2 half square triangles. And let's see. The squares go like that. My little star block here is going to be my leader ender, so I don't have to pull. Okay. Let me give these a press. I'm pretty sure that in the directions on the blog, I'm almost positive that you will press towards the darker print. And then you can either do it this way or this way. Okay, and that is your block. That's it. It's just a little modified 4-patch. And so these look like little flower buds, if you want to call it that. If you put 4 of them together, they will look like star points, right? And you'll have your 8 points going all the way around. And from that, you can do all kinds of arrangements. And that's really a simple unit that you can have a lot of fun with colors and arrangements. And so if you're interested in what kinds of layouts she's done with that and size options and things like that, they are all on her blog, quiltville.blogspot.com. And that is a pretty typical idea for what, like sometimes it really is a whole block. And a bigger block, and sometimes it's more of just a unit like this that you can use to combine and mix and match. But what I found is that she always gives really good directions on how to assemble things really, really quickly and cut things out really, really quickly. So I'll have to think about like what kind of a color palette I would want. Typically, when I do hers, I often will just follow her color palette ideas. But we'll see. And the thing that she emphasizes about this is that it's not a race. It's meant for you to be able to take your time on it and have it build throughout the year. So another little press here. And I'm pretty sure she had us spinning the seams. So when you spin the seams, instead of pressing it to one side, let's see, I think this one, I'll have to look at her directions again. I will need to cut my thread right here. And there. And so if I spin my seams, it's going to go like this. Let me press it. So I'll press, kind of having the seams all circle around in one direction or the other. And like I said, I will, so there's the spinning seams. So I will look and double check the direction of the spinning seams before I make any more. But that's my first little sample block for the new Leader Ender Challenge from Bonnie Hunter. So this should finish at 4 inches, right? Should be 4.5 inches right now. Let me make sure. Yeah. So it's 4.5 inches right now, and it will finish at 4 inches in a quilt. So if you want to make a couple hundred of these over the next year, and whether you make a single quilt or make some baby quilts, I think that could be really cute. Make a few little baby quilts like that. And what I like about it is that if you only need like a 6-inch piece, if you have leftover jelly roll strips and I have smaller amounts of these jelly roll strips in my 2.5-inch drawer. And this would be a great way to clear out some of those. And because it doesn't take a whole lot, when I'm looking in my scrap bins for, let's say, this is the month for aqua, I could pull out some of my aquas to use and some backgrounds and make a few of those. And then when the color comes up for August, change to look for another color. So I know I'm not supposed to start another project, but I wanted to at least give this one a try and show you what it turned out, to show you how it turned out. So let's make sure I finished telling you about everything. I think I did. So we've only got a few minutes left. And if you have any questions, pop them into the comment box now, so I have a little bit of time to answer. The next live stream will be the first Saturday in August, and I hope that you'll come back. I hope that you'll put that on your calendar and come back. Oh, I know what I wanted to tell you too. So I haven't had a new episode out in over a month because my editor, my son, is having computer issues that have been dragging on for probably 3 weeks now. And so he's got the episode, but he doesn't have the computer to do the editing for me. And so right now he's still trying to figure out if he's going to have to buy a new computer because they don't seem to be able to fix it, his old one. So we're at a standstill. And the only things that I can post on my channel are the things that I can edit myself, some of the shorter things that I can edit myself. And of course, the live streams don't get edited at all. And so I can continue to do those. So, but in the meantime, I'm going to work and do as much as I can on things. And who knows, there may be a couple episodes coming out in July if we get these computer issues resolved. It's always something, isn't it? It is always something. So so I will be back in August for the live stream, and hopefully I will have some other finishes to share with you. Some more summer adventures, I hope. And I hope you have some summer adventures planned, and I hope you're getting a chance to do some things. Anna, I hope that your husband continues to recover well. I hope that's going to go along well for you, for both of you. And if anyone else is dealing with those kind of health issues, I hope the summer brings a lot of healing for you. And I hope everything treats you well. Okay, I have one other thing I told you I was going to show you, and let me go grab that other quilt that I'll be working on. It's right over here. Do you remember seeing this one? Do you remember seeing this? It had been up on my design wall. And this is a flannel quilt. And what I need to do is I want to add borders to it because it's not quite a big enough size. And so I am going to take dark flannel pieces and join them end to end, 2.5-inch strips. And I am just going to have them go all the way around the edge of the quilt. And I will probably do 3 rows of flannel strips. But of course, I'm doing one row at a time. And so if I want to stop at 2, I will stop at 2. And I don't think it will be that hard to do. I think it'll be kind of fun, actually. I just have to get the flannels back out, do some cutting, and stitch those 2.5-inch pieces end to end. So that is also on my July list. Not for any particular reason, but just because it's so close to being done with just the borders and then quilt and bind it, that I would really like to move that one along and have it done. So, and that one I had started years and years and years ago, and I just don't want to lose the momentum on it at this time. So I hope that you have all kinds of things that will be keeping you busy. If you're in a heat wave like we are, I will be spending a lot of time down here sewing until my mom gets here. And I hope things go well for you and that you have a happy summer and a happy 4th of July. And we will see you next month. Take care, everybody. Thanks so much for being here. And bye-bye for now. Bye.